Hello there. It's Bonnie here. Intuitive Eating Wednesday. So today it is 12 p.m. Eastern. I'm coming in a little bit earlier. Usually it's at 12:15 Eastern. So I'm hoping you got the notification that I'm going live at 12 o'clock. This is an AMA. While we're waiting for people to come in, I'm going to just let my Instagram followers know that we are here on YouTube with our EMA. So hold on just a moment. Want everybody to come on over to YouTube or Facebook. Hello, Instagram. Bonnie here for Intuitive Eating Wednesdays. We just started our AMA. That is our Ask Me Anything live session today over on YouTube. So if you want to ask me any questions or you want to listen to the amazing questions that I did get asked already, they were submitted and I have answers. Just come on over to bonnie.tube and join the others who are there right now, you guys who are there right now. They have some questions for me. And I have some questions that were absolutely submitted in advance because we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. The holiday season, intuitive eating, emotions, emotional eating, stress, overwhelm, food, and more food. So come on over to YouTube. Okay. So Instagram peeps, come on over to YouTube for AMA today. I will see you there. All right. So I am just going to make sure that everybody on Instagram got that so I can pay my full attention to you guys right here. So just letting them know, bear with me as we're waiting for people to come on in. And I'm really hoping that I didn't mess you all up. Usually it's 12:15 Eastern, and today I'm just a little bit earlier than usual because I have a lot of questions that were submitted. All right. So let's get started. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope you're enjoying November. Next week is Thanksgiving. I really cannot believe it. It's just so crazy. But Thanksgiving happens to be one of my favorite holidays to cook for. So I'm really interested. If you're here with me live or you're on a replay, let me know. Do you enjoy cooking for Thanksgiving or do you prefer to go out? Do you prefer to be invited out? And if you do enjoy cooking, what's your favorite recipe? So one of my favorite recipes to cook is stuffing. I have this great recipe. It's in my cookbook, Enjoying Food Peace. If you don't have that, you got to get it over on Amazon. It's a great holiday gift. Enjoying Food Peace, recipes and intuitive eating wisdom to nourish your body and your mind. I don't have it here with me to show you. Next time I'll have it with me. But anyway, so I would definitely, I love Thanksgiving. But what I do know is that there's a lot of emotions that come up this time of year. So I ran my live workshop on Monday. And what we did was we created your triangle of success for the holidays. And we talked about lots and lots of strategies that will feed your body, your mind, your spirit throughout the holiday season. And it really was amazing. And so all the participants now have this triangle that they've created of success, and they have it now as a backdrop on their computer, on their phone, hanging on their fridge to just remind themselves about the holidays and what it truly means and what they're grateful for and strategies to help them stay mindful and stay aware and stay true to themselves. So it was super. Having said all of that, there are still lots of questions and lots of challenges that come up. And certainly that came up for, come up for people because I have had several questions that were submitted. So I'm going to take the time now to go through some of the questions. And as I do that, I would love it if you thought, if you had a similar question and if you experienced this ever and what your strategies were, because people really need to share with each other in an effort of, to just inspire each other that we can get through this season. I just want to say that it's the time of year where, social media and just, the print media and radio, and they're all bombarding you with lots and lots of promises and lots of, oh, new year, new you, and January 1st is coming. And I ask you not to fall prey to all that noise. Now, some of you have been in my community for a while, and I know that you feel strong against it, but I also know that some of you are very new to me, and this can be somewhat challenging. And so let me take a quick moment. If you are new to me and you're new to my YouTube channel, you're new in my Facebook group, welcome. I help chronic dieters develop trust in themselves and in food so they can break free of dieting and live life to the fullest. And the word trust is so important because if you think about it, the diets you've been on have stripped you of trust. Totally stripped you of trust, trusting in yourself, trusting in your body, trusting in your ability to make your own food choices. And it's time that we worked on regaining that trust, developing that trust again. And so, with that said, let me just jump into my very first question that was submitted to me. And that question reads as follows. I always promise myself that I won't overeat during the holidays, but I always seem to binge anyway. Why can't I just stick to my promise? So, before I share my answer, have you ever promised that to yourself? What has been your experience with that? Because I know that the writer of this question who submitted it to me, she's not alone. She promises herself every year, I'm not going to quote unquote overeat. And inevitably she does. So the most common reason people binge during the holidays is because they have a strong diet mentality and they're going into the holiday with an I'm going to be good mindset. And what do we mean by being good? By being good, we mean, well, I'm not going to eat any foods that I shouldn't eat. Let me say this to you. Restriction is the number one predictor of binge eating. Let me repeat that. Restriction is the number one predictor of binge eating. If you've experienced that, let me know. Have you experienced that restriction? Whatever you've restricted has led you to eventually, quote unquote, overeat or binge? Share with me. As you come into today's session, please say hello. Tell me who's here with me so we can chat back and forth because today is AMA. You have questions, I have answers. I'm right now answering the very first question that was submitted because some people who couldn't be here live with me did submit questions in advance. So we're talking about the person who submitted this question. Their question really was, why can't I not overeat and binge, right? Why? And we're talking about this concept of restriction. Now, let's review what the diet mentality means, because if you're sitting with a diet mentality, you're also sitting with this idea that I need to restrict. So having a diet mentality means, well, you have a list of foods that you call good or bad, can have, can't have, should have, shouldn't have, legal, illegal, and you follow these lists of foods, right? And when you don't follow that list and you have something that you think you shouldn't have, all bets are off. You are someone who has a diet mentality if you go on and off diets. Now, even if they are not necessarily formal diets, maybe they're ones you've created for yourself with certain rules you've created for yourself. Well, those are called self-designed diets. They're still diets. And you have rules for yourself. And what happens when you break these rules? Well, you have been following the diet for a while. You've been really good leading up to the holidays. You've got all these rules, but now you broke the rules. And so what happens is you undo all those days and those weeks and those months of hard work. And if you did lose weight on those diets, well, you've regained it. And there goes the roller coaster. This happens quite often over the holidays when you are surrounded by foods that are typically on your can't have list, not allowed. And then again, promises, promises, promises with the new year. So again, share with me your experience with this. What have you experienced with this common issue and common question that I get? So let me share with you solutions. Your short-term solution is to go into the holidays and be realistic with your expectations. Don't say, I'm not going to eat anything I shouldn't have or that I'm not supposed to. And don't say, well, I'm just going to enjoy and I'm going to eat whatever I want and I'll start again on January 1st. Instead, realize that you will want to have some of your holiday favorites, and that is perfectly okay. Stay mindful, aware, non judgmental. That's key. And you're not going to end up overeating and you're not going to end up binging. The moment you move into restriction mode, honestly, all bets are off. Now, what is the long-term solution? Because this is the short-term solution right now through November, December, short-term solution. What is ultimately the long-term solution? To shift out of the diet mentality and to begin to trust yourself with food. Now, I know this is a tough ask if you've been battling food for a long time. And the person who submitted this question did share that she's been battling with food for a very long time. And my clients in the Whole Body Trust program felt the same way before they began the journey of dismantling the diet culture messages to reclaim being an intuitive eater. So I understand this is a tough ask, but do consider that as you go through the holidays with this short-term solution and strategy I'm providing for you, that you really consider the long-term strategy and the long-term solution, which is finally to give up dieting and to shift out of the diet mentality and to just bust through and dismantle and break apart all those diet culture messages. Does anybody have any thoughts or any questions on this question that was submitted by this lovely, lovely lady? Let me take a drink when you think about that. Any comments on the things that I've just said? Remind yourself, remember that I love interaction when we're doing these live trainings. This is an AMA, Ask Me Anything. So I'm going to share. If you have questions, because you're here live with me, your questions will take priority. So if you have a question you would like me to answer, please pop it in the comment box and I will get to your question first. Otherwise, I will continue with the questions that were pre-submitted to me. Okay. So that first question as a recap was all about this wonderful woman asking me, I promise myself all the time, I'm not going to overeat, quote unquote. I'm not going to binge over the holiday. And it just happens time and time again. So that was my answer to her question. All right. We are going to move into question number 2. By the way, if you're just joining me or if you weren't with me on the workshop the other day, then you'll see scrolling on the bottom of here, this banner that I have on the bottom of our live is I have announced my Black Friday special. I want to make sure that you are aware of it because this actually, I've never offered this program at this discount before. My Total Food Freedom program, End Emotional Eating and Enjoy a New Relationship with Food. You can save $150 now through Black Friday. If you're eating emotionally and you need strategies, you could go over to totalfoodfreedom.com/special, read all about that program. We can talk about it later. I'll answer any questions you have. And you can save $150. This is the only time all year that offer is going to be out there for you. Okay. Oh, and by the way, if you are a member of the In Circle, that's the Intuitive Nutrition Circle, my membership program, you get a further discount. So check your email. I sent information on that out yesterday or just message me. Let's get into question number 2. A very common question. How should I handle my significant other who gives me dirty looks when I reach for a holiday sweet? I need to ask you guys, have you experienced this? Do you have a significant other, a partner who you love, but who constantly gives you the look or actually says to you, should you really be having that? It's annoying, isn't it? Well, this lovely woman who submitted this question experiences this all the time, and she wants some suggestions on how to handle it. Now, if you have experienced that, please share in the comments some strategies that you use because I know that your lived experience can help this wonderful woman as well. What I want to share for you is this. You got to have a heart-to-heart talk with this person. You've got to explain that you are taking ownership of your food decisions. Only you know what you think. Only you know what you feel. Only you know what your body is telling you. Very politely, always with respect, explain that you're giving yourself unconditional permission to eat what you desire so you won't feel deprived and won't overeat, and ask that they respect your decision. Now, this is tough. First, you have to believe it yourself, right? So that's the question I actually posed to you. Do you believe that? Do you believe you can truly eat unconditionally? That you can allow yourself to eat what you truly desire without the worry of overeating? If you do not believe that, and if you still have those concerns for yourself, then that is another part of diet mentality. Nothing wrong with it. It's so very understandable because you've been steeped in diet culture for so long. So, first, work on your own mindset, helping yourself to understand that if I really give myself unconditional permission to eat, I will be able to eat what I love without the worry of overeating. Okay. So then have that conversation. And you can even share with this significant other that this is a concept, a philosophy you're working on. It's brand new and it is such a paradigm shift, and probably not many people are aware of it. So I recognize that it's difficult. But that's okay. Still have that conversation so you can truly honor yourself and your desires and your journey. Now, it is best to be in a community of like-minded people who are also going through this journey so that they can support you through these difficult times, especially through the holiday. If you're not in a community, I invite you to join my community in my private free Facebook group. All you have to do is go to intuitiveeatinggroup.com. That'll take you straight up to my Facebook group, answer some questions, and I'll let you in, because support is key. Support is key. So again, those who are listening here with me live, those who are listening on replay, have you experienced this? Has your significant other ever given you a dirty look because they thought you were on a diet, or watching yourself, or they were thinking you shouldn't really be eating that? Pop a comment in. I really want to know, because I do know that the woman who submitted this question is not alone. So many people experience this. So come on. I know there's people here with me live. Tell me who's here. Let's have some conversation, or just say hello. Where are you joining me from? What is the weather like by you? I've been craving some sunshine and warmer weather. I want to know who's here with me. So this is a conversation that has to happen before you head to a holiday dinner, before you head to a holiday party, and have this heart to heart with your partner and say, "Can you be my helper?" That would be so awesome if you could be my helper. Because you know what? At some of these holiday get togethers, there are sometimes challenging situations, conversations, family drama, all sorts of things. And so having that person there who could support you would be great. So have the conversation. Don't be afraid to do that. Okay. Next question. Remember, guys, if you have a question that you have for me, this is AMA time. I'm open to answer any questions you have about intuitive eating, emotional eating, peace with food, just whatever. Throw it in the comments. I don't see those comments right now coming in. So I'm hoping my comment section is working. So somebody write something so I know it's working. If you have questions, I'm here for you. I'm here for you today. AMA time. I love AMA time because I never know what questions come my way. So it's challenging and I love it. All right. So we are up to the next question. And the next question is, let me just pull it up. Hold on a second. I did have my question somewhere here. Okay, here we go. How do you manage when you are in a situation where there is absolutely no quote unquote healthy food choices? So I put quote unquote around the word health because depending if you're sitting with a diet mentality or not, that can also be a labeled food, right? So here, I do think it's a great question, especially one that I get a ton over the holiday season. So first, let me ask you, how have you handled this situation before? Right? So set up the scene. You get to the party or you get to Thanksgiving dinner or any holiday dinner and you're kind of surveying what's there and there's absolutely nothing there that you think is healthy and you're doing your very best to be healthy, right? Okay. So do you say, well, there's nothing healthy here and I have to eat, so I'm just going to eat whatever's here? And then that flips to you eating, but you don't just eat, right? You eat without thought. It's mindless. You go on autopilot because the voice in your head has told you that you're eating bad foods because you equate healthy with good and unhealthy with bad, a part of diet mentality. So, what I'd like for you to consider is this. You will find yourself in situations where, because you're not necessarily preparing that meal, foods may be offered to you that are not prepared in the way in which you prefer. Maybe, yes, for health reasons. Maybe your blood sugars are high, your cholesterol is high. Maybe they just don't feel so great in your body. But if you stay aware, if you stay mindful and you tune into those internal signals, you will not eat beyond what your body needs. And by the way, I do know that in the back of your mind, you've got weight. Weight is on the back of your mind. If I eat those foods, I'm going to gain weight. A lot of times, and I'm just going to be straight up front with you because I say it like it is. A lot of times people say it's about my health. But really, if they kind of peel that layer back just a little bit, it's about their weight. So as long as you have that weight behind your mind, right, it's not going to work out for you. And I want you to understand that you will not gain weight from one meal. You will not. The problem is when you say, well, there's no healthy choices here, so I'm just going to eat what's here. In other words, it's all bad. I'm going to gain weight if I eat this food. You tune out. You tune out, you disconnect from your signals, and unfortunately, then you eat beyond that point of comfortable fullness. So, the next time you're in a situation and you see foods that you don't consider healthy for you, first make sure health isn't equating to bad because it will cause me to gain weight. And then all you want to do is stay present, stay fully aware, make the best choices from what's available, and eat until you're satisfied, not overfull. There really is no need to eat beyond that point of overfull. Because again, one meal, one food is not going to cause you to gain weight or to become unhealthy. Okay, does anybody have any comments on that question that was submitted? Does anybody have any similar stories to share? Thank you so much for the heart. I love hearts. Give me thumbs up. Tell me if this is resonating with you. If you're on replay, come back and comment as well. Okay, let's head into the next question. If I don't see questions coming in live, I'm just going to keep on keeping on with the questions that were submitted. Okay. So the next question, okay, so I did get some questions about the Total Food Freedom Program that I announced that is open now on a Black Friday special. So I just want to address one question that came up a lot around emotional eating, because the Total Food Freedom Program is a program that will help you end emotional eating. And there's a few things that I want to address about emotional eating. Number one, we are not, or at least I am not, demonizing emotional eating. We are emotional human beings. We're humans. Heck, we've got emotions. We've got a lot of emotions. And those emotions really, a lot of times, are very helpful for us, right? The issue becomes when someone says, I identify as an emotional eater, the issue really is when food is the number one thing you go to, you think about, and you go to when you are experiencing an emotion. Could be sadness, loneliness, stress, overwhelm, or whatever the uncomfortable emotion is, your mind automatically goes to food. That's when it becomes a destructive pattern. And so, yes, I've put together a program to help end emotional eating, but to understand what you're feeling, what your triggers are for destructive emotional eating patterns. Truth be told, if sometimes I could be feeling sad about something and I might say, I'd really love to have a scoop of ice cream right now. I just feel that I need that. It's okay. I could take some ice cream, put it in a bowl, sit at the table, eat it mindfully, enjoy it, allow it to soothe me, and then move on without continuing to eat the ice cream in an numbed out fashion. And that's also because I have other coping strategies that I use for various emotions that I have. But for people who identify as emotional eaters that have at least been contacting me, really food is their number one go-to. Maybe they have one or two other strategies, but it really is the number one go-to. And they find themselves really soothing and sedating with food. And so the Total Food Freedom Program is a program to help you end that type of emotional eating so you can enjoy a new relationship with food, so you can enjoy the ice cream, right, without numbing out with it. And so this wonderful woman reached out to me and she says, Bonnie, I'm going to read the question to you. It's a little long. Bonnie, I tend to eat emotionally, especially during the holidays, but also throughout the year. This is one of my biggest issues. I really want to get a handle on it, but I'm just concerned that I can't do this. I've been through so many programs before and I just couldn't get it. Now, I don't know if you resonate with that. I'd love to know. Have you been trying to really end emotional eating, the destructive emotional eating, we'll call it, and really have been struggling with that, just like this writer? Because stop and think. If you've tried other strategies, if you've tried other programs and courses to really help you overcome the destructive emotional eating, what I would invite you to think about is this. What was your mindset going into that program? Was there a part of your mind that was still hoping if I stop emotionally eating, I will lose weight? Think about that. It's there all the time, that desire to shed some pounds. It's not your fault, it's the culture. But if that was your focus, that was really what the problem it was and why you're still struggling with emotional eating. Ending destructive emotional eating isn't about weight. It's not about weight loss. It's not about what will happen when I stop emotionally eating in terms of changing my body. It's really about helping you to understand the why behind your eating in a non-attuned fashion. And that means when you eat when you're not physically hungry. In other words, what is your emotional hunger really a symbol of? What are the needs in your life that are not being met that you're trying to meet with food? If you don't figure that stuff out, and that is what I teach you in the Total Food Freedom Program, you're not going to be able to end the destructive emotional eating. Now, let me just share. I mean, this is such an important point. So let me just share a comment, not a comment, an example. Carmen is a client of mine, and she had tried so many ways to really stop her destructive emotional eating patterns. And she worked with so many therapists. She did one on one coaching. She participated in several group programs, but she still was emotionally eating, again, in a sedative, even punishment fashion. The problem was that Carmen entered each of these therapies with the wrong mindset. Again, she was hoping, well, if I get a handle on this emotional eating, which always ends up in binging and not even realizing how much she's eating until after, she'll lose weight, right? She wanted to lose weight as a byproduct of ending emotional eating. That was her goal. And what I helped her to see is that her diet mentality and her focus on the number on the scale was holding her back from truly understanding the underlying reasons that she was turning to food. And when she finally got that, she totally understood more clearly her emotional triggers. And then, yeah, we worked on a custom strategy so she could meet her needs best. Okay. And the Total Food Freedom will help you with this. That again is the program now I'm offering you on a Black Friday special, save $150. You will learn what your emotional eating type is. There are 5 emotional eating archetypes, you will learn what that is. You will learn what your specific emotional eating triggers are and how to customize strategies to each particular trigger and how to really feel the feelings, because we ultimately have to learn to feel in order to heal. And then finally, you'll learn more about using food as your ally, which I'm not going to talk about now. I'll talk about in a few minutes. Okay, that was a great question that was submitted about emotions, especially this time of year. All right, thank you for this comment. Somebody submitted a comment right here, CSNO School. Not sure who you are, but welcome. What are your thoughts on sugar addiction? Great question. I could probably do an entire live training on that. So the long and short of it is I don't believe in sugar addiction. In my experience, the sugar addiction that you think you have is coming from restriction. So think about it this way. Sugar has been demonized. Sugar is bad. I can't eat sugar. I shouldn't eat sugar. I'm restricting sugar. How many times people have come to me and said, I haven't had sugar in years. But then all of a sudden, bam, they ate a piece of birthday cake or a holiday cookie and they couldn't stop. And then, you see, I'm addicted to sugar. I can't stop. No. You have restricted, and that restriction is what leads to what we call rebound eating, and rebound eating is leading to the overeating and the addiction and the binge eating, and then the decreased trust in yourself and belief that I can learn to eat sugar. So that's the short of really a very long conversation about what I believe is no sugar addiction. I do not believe people are addicted to sugar. I believe it begins with restriction. When we could really make peace with sugar and all sweets, what you find is amazing. Now, my clients who work through this making peace with food process in the Whole Body Trust program. Whole Body Trust is my signature intuitive eating program where we really learn to make peace with food. Those clients may come in thinking they're addicted to sugar and I can't eat the cookies, the cake, the jelly beans, the chocolate, anything that has sugar in it. And as they work through this special process of welcoming these foods into their life in a very systematic fashion, so they really become free from it, if you will. It's like a food freeing stage where there's no longer that feeling of I'm restricted, I can't eat it, I can't trust myself with it. The most amazing thing happens. They can have these things in their house and they don't even think about eating it. And if they do think about eating it, they can have some and move on. So for that person who submitted that question from CSNO School, thank you so much for submitting that question. And we can definitely consider, maybe I'll do a live training upcoming on that by itself as well. Great question. Please go ahead and submit your questions and your comments and your thoughts right here in the comment box. I'm here for AMA. Love answering your questions. Okay, so I'm going to move on with the next question. Here we go. Next question submitted by a longtime follower in my Facebook group, and it goes like this. The thought of not eating when I feel sad or lonely is scary for me. I love food. Oh, actually, yeah, she submitted this. There was someone else who submitted a different question. I just got confused. This is another lovely lady who submitted this question. The thought of not eating when I feel sad or lonely is scary for me. I've used it for a long time to soothe, to distract, to escape. I love food, and I'm just afraid that your total food freedom program will tell me all the foods I can't eat. Okay, so not at all. What I like to teach my clients is how to feel your feelings, how not to numb out with food. And that is something that I know could be scary because if you've been using food, like there's this continuum of emotional eating, right? It starts with just, maybe some sensory gratification. Wow, the food tastes good, especially Thanksgiving, my favorite. So I'm eating a little bit beyond where I'm comfortably full. But then as you move along this continuum, we get to eating for comfort, eating for distraction, eating for sedation, eating for punishment. It gets more intense, right? Well, here's the thing. learning to feel feelings and not numb out with food is really, really important. But the biggest message that I want to give you, and the biggest message that I teach my clients in the Total Food Freedom Program, is this: food is your ally, it is not your enemy. Now, for so many people, that when I say that, they're like, what? Food is my ally? No, food is my enemy. I battled food for so many years that I can't even imagine thinking that food is my ally. And I want to give you a different perspective that you can think about. There are very important nutrients in food that help you to balance your brain chemicals that can therefore help you manage your mood with food, as well as regulate your blood sugar level, which will dramatically reduce your food cravings. So, learning how to use food to create balanced meals to nourish your body, but to nourish your brain as well, really is so very important to help you manage the moods, the emotions, the cravings, and know how to really learn to cope with those feelings that might be uncomfortable and those triggers that you might have, to cope with them with kindness, with self-compassion, and not with food. So we use food as our ally to create nourishing meals, to provide our brain with the right nutrients it needs, and so forth. But that's very, very different from numbing out and comforting with foods. See what I mean? Please let me know if this is a very new concept for you, or if you have any questions on how we could use food as your ally to manage emotions. Really, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing to manage your mood. Claire. Hi, Claire. Food is my ally. Yes, Claire. Thank you. I know that you've been at this for so long, and I'm so happy to hear that you have moved to a place of food being your ally. You are a tremendously wonderful example for everybody else who's new to this journey, that you keep going, you keep learning, and changing your perspective around food is key, is key. Really, this concept of food as your ally is something that once I put that message out there, people, especially those dealing with destructive emotional eating patterns, were so relieved. I'm going to give you an example. Nellie. So Nellie is a client of mine, and when I shared this perspective with her, she told me that the idea of embracing food to help her with her journey to end destructive emotional eating was a life changer for her. She learned, she says, that, oh, she says to me, I remember vividly, she says, I could biochemically shift things using food, not just to feel better or to escape, but use food to actually give me the energy and the vitality to get the things in life that I really want. I remember her saying this. We were cheering. It was so fantastic. And she was like, that's a game changer for me. And yeah, that's exactly what I teach in the Total Food Freedom Program. So, again, I just want to encourage those of you who do have some emotional eating patterns that don't serve you well to consider checking out the special I'm offering you. The link is straight up on this banner, totalfoodfreedom.com/special. You can save $150, and I won't be offering that all year again. It's end of year Black Friday. All right, let me get to the next question. Now, this question is from my long-time client, someone who's been following me forever, and I want to share this question. I'm still trying to find balance between eating the foods I love and how not to eat some of the foods I love too often. Now, she puts the word not in capitals. Let me continue with her question. By too often, I mean things like ice cream is allowed and isn't a bad food. However, I've learned it's probably not in my best interest to eat it every night, even though I would like to have it, or another type of sweet every night. I know we don't have rules, she goes on to say, but should I be giving myself guidelines of how often to eat these foods that aren't essential for nutritional value, or that keep my cholesterol too high? How often to eat foods like barbecue beef brisket or pizza? How do I get the right balance of these things for me? So that is such a loaded question, but I could tell you the following. If you resonate with this question, by the way, let me know. The wording of the question does reflect the sneaky diet mentality creeping in. As an intuitive eater, we do not set quote unquote guidelines. You see, the word guidelines in the question really reflects the sneaky diet mentality kind of creeping in, because that's just another word for rules around how often we should eat certain foods. Now, sometimes we can use the word guidelines in a non diet fashion, absolutely. But in the way this question was worded, it really was worded as a guideline for how often should I eat this food? How many times a week, for example? So this is still dieting. The moment you set a limit on a food, the desire for that food increases dramatically. Have you seen that? For those of you here with me live, or if you're listening on replay, have you seen that? The minute you said to yourself, maybe I'm going to allow myself to have pizza because I can have everything I want, but only once a week or only once a month. What happens? You want it more. You want it more. That's what's happening in this question. Making peace with food means taking conditions off all foods. To me, this means the individual writing in, this means that you haven't fully made peace with food. You may think you have. You might be physically giving yourself permission to eat the food, so you think you've made peace with it, but you have emotionally not made peace with that food. As an intuitive eater, your body naturally balances the nutrient-rich foods with these less nutrient-rich, fun foods. And this is exactly what I teach in Whole Body Trust in this experience. It is a process. It takes time. So for the person who wrote that question, reassess for yourself where you're at in the journey. I really feel that you haven't fully made peace with it, because as you go through the systematic process, you will find that your body will guide you. Your body gives you messages, and you yourself will be able to determine how much and how often of certain foods. But really what ultimately happens, you don't even have to think about it, because over time you will see that your body naturally balances that out. That is the beautiful part of being an intuitive eater. And I recognize this takes time for people. Okay, if you have any questions, pop them in for me, please. I love questions. All right, let me get to a next question. I think I have one or two more questions. So hopefully, if anybody's here, those of you who are here live with me, please let me know if you have questions and I'll get to answering them. I do have a few more minutes I could spend with you. Okay, here's another question. Just came in right before I got on live with you. Bonnie, I'm really interested in your Total Food Freedom program for Black Friday. Who doesn't like to save money? But I don't know if I have time now. And the holiday season is so expensive. I don't know if I should spend the money now. What do you think? I appreciate the question, because I love just to talk straight up, right? So my answer to you is this about time. How much time have you spent trying to fix your relationship with food over the years, right? Time is your greatest asset. You've been jumping from one thing to the next, right? I get it. But here's the thing. You owe it to yourself. If emotional eating is something that you experience and you are finding it is destructive for you, it's so important for you to figure out your emotional eating type. Again, there are 5 archetypes of emotional eating, and what your triggers are. There are so many, maybe 15 to 20 different emotional eating triggers that I review with you. And how can you expect to overcome them if you don't really take the time? Listen, you have lifetime access to the program materials. And as a bonus, you get 2 months free in my Intuitive Nutrition Circle community, where you will get support from myself and the community as you work through the course. So there's no pressure to get it done now. There is no pressure. You will have the savings now. And I get the fact that it's an expensive time of year. I myself have a lot of expenses now, so I understand. think about the gifts that you're purchasing for other people. When someone else wants something, we find a way to get it for them, but yet sometimes for ourselves, we just don't want to spend the money on ourselves. You are worth it. That's the other thing you really want to kind of believe in, right? You are worth. You are worth it. And so if this resonates with you at all, I encourage you to take advantage of the savings now. The offer is available through Black Friday next week, Friday the 26th at 6 p.m. Again, it's the only time of year that I offer this. You can totally purchase it any time of year, but for a higher investment. So it's $150 off. It's only $247. Normally you'd spend $397. So I totally think it's worth it. Again, you will go through 3 steps. You will identify your emotional eating type or types and triggers. You will learn to customize your strategies to each of the triggers, plus learn how to feel feelings. And number 3, you will learn how to use food as your ally. So very important. So we've had a lot of great questions throughout today's session. I appreciate the questions that were submitted in advance. I appreciate the questions that were submitted live. If you have any questions, now is the time. I started off today's session just talking about Thanksgiving, which is next week. I truly hope that you're looking forward to it. It is my favorite holiday to cook for. I just love it, love it, love it. Even if I don't have extended family, if it's just my immediate family, it doesn't matter. I love cooking for it. What is your favorite Thanksgiving dish to cook? Share with me. I shared mine was stuffing. I have a stuffing recipe in my cookbook and I love it. It's my favorite thing to cook. I have a cranberry apple crisp that I also cook, and I have a pumpkin pie and pumpkin bread recipe that I love, that my family really loves. So there are foods that are one time of year. Like I could certainly make the pumpkin bread throughout the year. I just don't. I'm not really sure why, but I save it for Thanksgiving, right? Enjoy. Remember what we started off with. No going into the holiday with extremes. I can't have anything, or I'm just going to eat it all. Maintain your awareness, your mindfulness, and go in and truly honor yourself during the season. And let's remember what we're celebrating. What are you feeling grateful for, right? And who will you be celebrating with? So I hope that this Q&A, Ask Me Anything, has been helpful for you. If you have any final thoughts, can you pop a comment in? And if you're on replay, definitely put some comments. If you have any additional questions that come up for you after watching this replay, absolutely pop the comment in. I will come back, tag me, and I'll come back and answer. Okay. Next week, Wednesday, we will not meet for our live training as it is the day before Thanksgiving. And I'm going to take that day off. I'm working that day. I'm going to take the day off from the live training, but I will have a new YouTube video that goes live on Monday morning. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, you got to do that, because every Monday morning there will be another YouTube going live. That's my plan. The one coming up for Monday, you don't want to miss. That will help you for the week of Thanksgiving. I've got a lot of things there that I'm sharing in that upcoming video. I'm not going to tell you now. I want you to watch for it. So go ahead and Bonnie.tube, hit subscribe, and you will get notified when those new videos go live. Appreciate your support. Have a great holiday. Thank you, Claire. I believe that's you, Claire. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate your showing up and continuing on the journey. Everybody, have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I will see you either in the Facebook group or in the YouTube community. Watch for the next video to go live on Monday. All right. Any questions? Please pop them in the comments, either on YouTube or Facebook. Tag me, and I will be back to answer. All right. That's it for now. Have an amazing day. Bye.